In this video, I'll be showing you exactly how I improve my focus, and it will be the complete no BS guide. You might be asking yourself, why should I listen to you? To that, I want to share my story. I actually struggled with focusing on the things I really cared about, and it was very, very frustrating. I really wanted to get good grades in school, but just wasn't able to focus. I really wanted to read the books and learn about business and learn about skills that I wanted to develop. Wasn't able to do it because I just couldn't focus. And it really bothered me. So after basically 3 years of reading a lot of different books, listening to a lot of different podcasts, implementing a lot of different things and all the different products I tried, here's basically the 20% of things that I've tried that will generate you 80% of the results. And I want to share this with you because I wish somebody told me this whenever I was younger. Focus is just an energy. And in order for you to harness that energy in the very beginning, you need to think of it like this. Your energy is probably being spread out thin from a lot of different directions. For example, in school, you probably have like 7 different subjects that you're learning about. You're being spread out in a lot of different directions, right? And that's not very good because you're not really able to focus in one thing for a long period of time. Can you imagine the level of distraction social media gives you? There's so many different influencers. There's so many different things that people are talking about. There's a lot of things happening. The software developers have developed the app so you can feel FOMO. So you feel anxious that your friends are doing something and you're not with them. They do all of these things on purpose so you can keep using their apps. So you can keep checking, oh, what are people doing? Video games are the same thing. If you pay attention to it, it's a very big distraction because you're constantly thinking about the video game even after you get off of it. People think that whenever you play video games, you're only focusing on it, you're only paying attention to it in that moment. That's not the case. You're really thinking about the video game, the next rank, the next item that you want to get, the next level, the next high score, weeks after, hours afterwards, you know what I mean? The same thing with content and media, your Netflix, your Rick and Morty's, whatever people do nowadays. You need to delete all of these things because it's clouding your judgment and you won't really understand what I'm saying until you delete it, and then you start seeing the effect it has on your brain a few days later, 2 weeks later, whenever the cravings really hit your mind. And also, once you delete these things, you need to add a lot of barriers, so it becomes very difficult for you to go and actually start doing these things. Finally, in the distractions, I wanted to add environment. I truly believe if your environment works against you, like for example, if it's loud, if it's cluttered, you can't really focus, it's going to be very bad for you. You're going to spread yourself out too thin. You're not really going to be able to focus on anything. For people that are struggling with environment, I highly urge you to try to see if you can do your work somewhere else other than your home. Maybe go to like libraries. If you go to a public library, they usually offer you rooms that you can take advantage of for a few hours and you can just get a lot of work done. Or you can just go to a library itself and then just pump out a lot of work since it's quiet and there's a little bit of distractions. Some people really like going to coffee shops, but for me personally, there's a lot of noise and for me it's not quiet enough. I don't like it. But again, you can experiment and see what works for you. Next thing I want to talk about is you need to get on a dopamine detox. So if you don't know what it is, you basically don't do anything. And I mean that literally. You're doing nothing that will give you large amounts of dopamine. And I mentioned 4 of them, like the video games, social media, and visual content like YouTube, Netflix, things like that. Whenever you get on a dopamine detox, you're going to have a lot of bad symptoms for like 2 weeks. And some people, it's even 3 weeks. You're going to start getting these cravings where you really just want to play a video game. You really just want to go and start scrolling on social media. You really just want to watch a video. But you need to persevere. You need to push yourself. And regarding dopamine detoxing, there's 2 different methods that I know of that you can do yourself. One method is the one that Iman Gadzi does, and I call it the on and off method. Basically, the on and off method is the way he does it. He does a dopamine detox for like 3 months, and then he basically does nothing that stimulates his brain or gives him very large hits of dopamine. And then the month after that, he basically does whatever the hell he wants. He parties, does whatever he wants. I don't know what Iman does, but he's basically allowed to do whatever he wants. So you can either do this method or you can do the other method, which for me I feel like is more hardcore, and it's the one that I do. The second one is the full time, and you basically just do this forever, but you might be doing a lighter dopamine detox. There's a YouTuber by the name of Leon Hendricks, and I wanted to show you his brain scans. Basically on the left side, that's the before. You see that the back part of his brain is blue, so it shows that it's not really firing properly. And after only 1 week, on the right side, you see the after, and his brain is a lot more warm, and there's different sections of his brain that are actually activating, and he's able to utilize more, like a bigger percentage of his brain. And again, just keep in mind, this is only after 1 week of completely doing a dopamine detox. So I can't even imagine the effects it has on his brain after 2-3 weeks plus, because that's when the benefits really kick in. Another thing I really want to talk about is long blocks. This is a concept that really just transformed my focus for me. I want to share a story with you. In my first high school, we had 7 different classes, and each class was around 15 minutes long. It was cool, but again, there was that concept of where we were being spread out too thin. You had to think about 7 different subjects, 7 different classes. It's very difficult for your brain to get a lot of progress done whenever you're spread out very thin like that. And at the time, the new school that I transferred to, they did block scheduling. So in that school, we only had 4 classes, so 3 classes less. But each class, we were able to focus on it for an hour and 30 minutes. That might not seem like a very big deal, but it really revealed a lot to me. I was able to focus a lot more on those 4 different classes. I was able to get a lot more done. The teachers actually cared about you more because they only had 4 classes that they taught. And to no surprise, the school that I went to, the second one, actually had the best scores in the whole city compared to all the other schools. And it might not even be in schools. If you pay attention, even the military kind of has like a block system, you know? And there's a reason. It's because it works. So you probably have noticed a lot of people talk about Pomodoro, and I truly think that Pomodoro is very bad. The reason I say that is because in order to enter a flow state, there's a lot of scientific studies that show you need to be focusing on something for 10 to 15 minutes. The Pomodoro technique is only 25 minutes, so you're constantly going into flow and out of it. So you're really only in flow for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That's not really a long time to get a lot of work done. And if you did enter flow, then why do you want to end it off early like that? I mean, I don't know about you, but personally, whenever I enter flow, I want to stay in flow as long of a period as possible, or as long as I can. And Pomodoro just kind of breaks that. Every time you enter flow, you're only there for like 5-10 minutes, and then boom, Pomodoro ends. I don't believe that that's a good thing. You should probably do long blocks. I think this will help you a lot more. On the right side, that's exactly my Google Calendars, and that's my schedule, the one that I'm using right now. You'll notice that in the mornings I have a very long block, and then towards the evening I have a 2-hour block. Another thing you'll notice while you're doing these long blocks is it might be very difficult for you to work very long periods of times like this, but it's okay. This is a skill. You're probably going to be very bad at it whenever you first begin because you've never done this before. So just stick with it and keep doing it, and you'll realize that after a month or 2, you can actually focus for a longer period of time. For me personally, I'm aiming to hit 5 hours instead of 4 hours so I can get even more work done in my first block. Now onto the products. I'm going to be guessing that you already have headphones, but if you already do have headphones, then this will kind of run you back $25. I think these are the things that genuinely will give you the most bang for your buck. I highly recommend investing in some earplugs. They don't have to be anything fancy. Like I have these ones that I got from Walmart. I'll just shove them in my ear, but basically it's like 50 pairs for like 10 bucks. Another thing I highly suggest you invest in is a timer. You basically just spin it and then it increases your time. It's a countdown. The reason a timer is just so effective is because it creates this sense of urgency and it makes your brain really focus and try to complete the task at hand. I don't really do it for everything, but if there's something I really want to focus on, then I create that sense of urgency by setting the timer, and then I put however long I think it'll take. Usually it's 30 minutes, and I'll put it right there in the corner, like peripheral on my eyesight, and then I'll just pay attention to it, and it creates this sense of urgency to get the thing completed and finished. I'll leave the links to everything below in the description if you're interested in buying these products. Again, it shouldn't be that expensive. You can find these things basically anywhere. Now I want to talk about fundamentals and mainly food. I think regarding focus, again, I'm not talking about if you want to become a bodybuilder, but if you want to really improve your focus, I highly urge you to work fasted. And the reason I say that is because one of the most energy consuming activities that your body does as a human being is it metabolizes food and then it turns it into energy. You don't want to be eating food while you're working because your body's going to be split between 2 different activities that require a lot of energy. You won't be able to focus 100% and your body won't really be digesting 100%. So it's just overall, it's a very bad thing to do. And also you've probably noticed whenever you eat, you just start yawning, burping, and you feel bloated. It's very difficult for you to focus, and just don't do it. Just work fasted. I promise it's better. And sleep, the 3 very simple things I always tell people, you want to make sure you sleep in a cool, dark, and quiet environment. I don't want to get too deeply into it, but just try to sleep at the same time every day. That will just help with your circadian rhythm. And lastly, it's environment. You want to work in a quiet, no distraction, and closed off environment. Again, you don't want anything that could pull your focus or distract you in any way. So you really want to make sure that your environment follows those things. I've actually noticed that there's a lot of entrepreneurs that literally work in their closet, and it kind of makes sense because it follows those things. Don't let the simplicity of these tips show that, oh, they're not effective. They're very effective. You just have to follow them. And it's these simple things that nobody wants to do, but I'm telling you that these will yield you the best results regarding your focus. Something I learned from a friend of mine is it's not about how many books you read or how many videos you watch. It's about that good book that you find that has golden nugget information, how many times you come back and reread it. You need to reread it 10, 100 times, because if that book really is so good, then you really want to make sure that you have it copied and pasted into your head so you can remember all of the good concepts in it. So same thing with this video. I want you to save it into a playlist and just keep coming back and watching it, because you might forget the reason you're doing all of this in the first place. But I promise you, it will be difficult for a few weeks, but then the mental clarity that you will have, and then that passion that you will have for doing the things that you truly care about, and the things that you want to learn, and the things that you want to develop and improve in, it will make all of this so worth it in the end. I truly don't believe people are consuming or learning content the right way. And if you keep coming back and watching this video and really shoving this information in your head, I promise you, you're going to be succeeding at a way higher level than everybody else around you. I can guarantee you that. But that's it from me. Thank you for watching.